Thanakarn Kanthee, Thailand, Christmas Day 2024, or more precisely, the hours around it. Thanakarn Kanthee, 21 years old, known online as Bank Lester, and his friend climb on a motorbike in Samut Prakan province and ride several hours east to Chanthaburi. Not for the scenery, for a liquor store, and a deal that had apparently been arranged. Drink 3 bottles of whiskey in one sitting and walk away with 30,000 baht, roughly 700 British pounds. Thanakarn was the kind of online personality built around parties, drinking, and risk. This was basically his content description made real. They arrive at noon. The store owner later tells police that they just showed up unannounced, framing it as spontaneous, though 2 people are eventually arrested in connection with the death, which suggests it wasn't entirely a casual drop-in. The challenge starts. They film it. A video documents him getting through 2 bottles of whiskey in about 20 minutes while people around him encourage him to keep going. 2 bottles in 20 minutes, bro. That's not drinking. That's drowning slowly. Somewhere in those 20 minutes, or shortly after, his body makes the decision his brain hadn't. He becomes visibly sick. He vomits. Then he loses consciousness. Emergency services rush him to hospital, where he arrives in the early hours of December 26th. At 3:40 in the morning, Thanakarn Kanthee is pronounced dead. The autopsy comes back. Acute heart failure, triggered by the volume of alcohol consumed in too short a time. Thai media covered the case extensively, framing it as a warning against paid drinking challenges. 2 people from Chanthaburi and Pathum Thani provinces were arrested, a signal that Thai authorities were starting to treat the people who set up these stunts as legally responsible, not just the person who agreed to do them. The video of him drinking those 2 bottles circulated online as a cautionary clip. The same content that was supposed to go viral for the right reasons ended up viral for all the wrong ones. Louis Stevenson. Mid-October 2024. Spain. Louis Stevenson, 26, British,
Hello.
travels specifically to the Vialda de la Reina Bridge, one of the tallest structures in the country, standing roughly 630 feet above the ground. He's a daredevil content creator. Travel stunts, illegal climbs, the kind of footage that gets engagement because it genuinely makes you nervous to watch. He brings a companion, another British man, 24 years old, to film. They wait for darkness, then start climbing. Illegally. For the camera. Nobody else was around. There's a whole ecosystem of urban explorers and rooftop climbers who've built careers out of going exactly where they shouldn't. The logic tracks in a bleak kind of way. The more forbidden the location, the more the footage is worth. A 630-foot bridge in Spain, filmed at night, is the kind of clip that travels. The problem is the logic only holds up until it doesn't, and at a certain height, it stops holding up permanently. During the ascent, Louis loses his grip, or his footing. Exactly how it happens isn't clear. Reports don't specify. What they agree on is that he falls, from approximately 630 feet. Emergency services respond. He's pronounced dead at the scene. His companion survives. Macarena Munoz, the local security counselor who speaks to the press, delivers the line that ends up in every headline. They came here to climb and create content for social media. That's the story, in 12 words. His girlfriend, Savannah Parker, posted tributes that made him human beyond the stunt gone wrong framing, talking about his personality, his final days, what he was like before the bridge. Spanish authorities opened an investigation into illegal trespassing and placed additional strain on emergency services. What lingers about this case is the sheer deliberateness of it. Louis didn't stumble into that bridge. He planned the trip, researched the target, brought someone to film it, and arrived at night for the aesthetic. He was 26, and the bridge didn't know or care. Pan Xiaoting, China, July 14th, 2024. Pan Xiaoting, 24 years old, pulls up her live stream. Camera on, food ready. Enormous amounts of food. Because that's the deal. She's a mukbang streamer, part of China's Big Stomach King scene, where the whole point is watching someone eat volumes of food that would hospitalize a normal person. Which, to be fair, had already hospitalized her multiple times, including once for gastric bleeding.
Ouch!
She went back anyway. The algorithm doesn't care about your stomach lining. She'd started as a waitress, picked up streaming as a side hustle, and slowly built an audience by eating up to 22 pounds of food in a single session and streaming for up to 10 hours a day. 10 hours a day. The gifting system, the sponsorships, the viewer counts, all of it rewarded going further, eating more, pushing the body harder. And each time she came back from hospital, she'd return to the stream and push a little further than before. On July 14th, she's doing it again. Reports aren't specific about whether viewers saw her collapse on camera or whether she deteriorated after the stream ended, but she was taken to hospital and pronounced dead. The autopsy results that circulated in Chinese media are genuinely hard to read. Her abdomen was described as severely deformed. Her stomach, still full of undigested food. Her body had simply reached the point where it couldn't process what she was putting into it anymore, and it gave out. Chinese authorities had already been pushing back against extreme mukbang content. Food waste laws, platform crackdowns, public pressure. Her death intensified that conversation. She was framed in coverage as both perpetrator and victim. Someone who chose this content, but did so inside a system that handed her money every time she made it worse. Xiao Qiumei, Chuzhou, China, July 20th, 2021. Xiao Qiumei, 23 years old, is at work. She's a professional crane operator. She climbs into a cab suspended roughly 160 feet above the ground every day as part of her actual job. She'd also built a following on Douyin, China's equivalent of TikTok, by posting videos from up there. Casual, lifestyle-flavored clips. What it looks like to operate a tower crane. What the view is from the cab. The quiet details of working high above a construction site. Genuinely interesting content that nobody else was making. And that's the thing. Her stunt wasn't a stunt at all. She wasn't base jumping. She wasn't doing challenges. She was just working and filming herself doing it. The problem is that 160 feet in the air stops being routine the second your attention splits. Whether she was walking along the crane platform or leaning out of the cab doorway or moving for a better angle, reports conflict on the exact position, she loses her footing and she falls. Emergency services respond. Xiao Qiumei dies from her injuries. Some coverage describes it as a live stream, meaning viewers may have been watching in real time. Others say she was simply recording. Either way, the footage exists, the fall happened, and the clip of a woman recording herself at height, and then not being there, became one of those moments that spreads precisely because it's so mundane right up until it isn't. The influencer curse. Okay. So, at some point while researching this video, I started noticing a pattern. And I don't mean a theme, I mean something that starts to feel genuinely cursed. Because when you zoom out beyond the 4 cases we've already covered, there are people doing things so monumentally ill-advised for views that they stop feeling like isolated incidents and start feeling like a law of the universe, right? Like the algorithm eventually collects. Take Lil Golo, Australian rapper and social media personality. In 2025, at a skate park in Auckland, New Zealand, he spends between 300 and 400 British pounds on duct tape, strips it between 2 poles and runs at it. First 1 layer, then 10, then 100. Fine. Then a wall of 1,000 layers. He sprints into it, his body snaps backward, and he's on the ground foaming at the mouth while his friends panic and call an ambulance. He leaves in a neck brace with fentanyl. His comment afterward? He's retiring his Lil Golo stunt arc. Yeah, probably smart, mate. Then there's Mona Lisa Perez and Pedro Ruiz. 2017. Small YouTube channel, desperate for traction. Pedro's idea? Mona Lisa shoots him with a .50 caliber Desert Eagle while he holds a thick book over his chest. He tested a different book, seen the bullet slow, and declared it proof of concept.
Let's go!
2 cameras set up for multiple angles. Thorough guy. She fires. The bullet goes through the book and through Pedro. He dies on the spot. Mona Lisa calls 911 and tells them it was a YouTube stunt. She was convicted. He was 22. Jacqueline Barbosa Nascimento, Brazilian influencer, 22, goes on a trip with people she'd only just met. Jaguara Dam near Igaratá, August 31st, 2025. She gets on a jet ski. Small detail, Jacqueline couldn't swim. Her body is recovered from the reservoir 3 days later. Friends say they'd tried to stop her. And then, as a palate cleanser, 2 Delhi TikTokers dressed as Spider-Man and Spider-Woman did helmetless motorcycle stunts on a major expressway. 900,000 views. Police recognized the location and arrested both. Nobody died, which genuinely counts as the happy ending. Tanner Cook, Sterling, Virginia, April 2nd, 2023. Dulles Town Center, a shopping mall, food court, Sunday afternoon. Tanner Cook, 21, runs a YouTube channel called Classified Goons, built on aggressive pranks in public. Fake vomiting in Ubers, stalking customers through stores, holding a phone in strangers' faces, and blasting audio until something happens. The channel sits around 56,000 subscribers. The entire model depends on finding a target and refusing to stop until you get a reaction. On this Sunday, the target is Alan Coley, 31, a DoorDash driver picking up an order. Tanner approaches him and starts playing audio through Google Translate directly in his face, following him as he tries to walk away. The line on loop, according to court documents, "Hey, Dips, quit thinking about my twinkle." Coley tries to leave. Tanner follows. Coley tries again. Tanner stays in his space. This continues. At some point, Coley decides the interaction isn't stopping on its own. He draws a concealed firearm and shoots Tanner once in the abdomen. Tanner goes down in a Virginia food court, gut shot, for content aimed at 56,000 people. He survived. Airlifted the hospital and made it through, which is genuinely remarkable. Alan Coley was charged with aggravated malicious wounding and firearm offenses. In September 2023, a jury acquitted him of the most serious charge, finding, in essence, that refusing to stop harassing someone until they shoot you can look a lot like self-defense from the other direction. He was convicted of discharging a firearm in an occupied building, carrying up to 10 years. The jury deliberations were long. They were split, which tells you something about how unclear the lines had become. Tanner's father told press his son was just doing his pranks. The channel continued after the shooting. Same format, same targets, as though a bullet in the stomach was a brand milestone rather than a reason to stop.